The discussion began with questions about multiple strikes, including a second strike that some officials were unaware of. The president explained that he did not have specific details about that second action, but emphasized that the primary objective remained consistent: stopping dangerous boats suspected of trafficking harmful substances. He clarified that orders had always focused on eliminating threats at sea, with the possibility of future land operations if necessary. According to him, maritime smuggling had already been reduced significantly, with over 90% of it disrupted through targeted operations. He highlighted how effective these precision strikes have been, describing how certain vessels exhibited clear signs of illegal activity: multiple engines, unusual maneuvers, and large quantities of suspicious cargo. The president noted that even though some media outlets questioned the legitimacy of these operations, the evidence observed in real time showed that these boats were not engaged in ordinary activity. He credited his team, particularly Pete, for their leadership and thorough execution of the mission. Pete then emphasized the broader context, pointing out that millions of people had crossed the border over the past 4 years, many coming from dangerous situations or criminal networks. He stressed that among those entering the country were cartel members and individuals connected to violent activities. Pete argued that the narcotics crisis was not accidental, but an intentional poisoning of the American population, with hundreds of thousands of lives lost to dangerous substances smuggled across borders. According to Pete, the president made a bold decision by designating major cartels as terrorist organizations, allowing the government to respond with stronger, more direct actions. He compared the approach to tactics used against global terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. He argued that when dealing with dangerous organizations, authorities cannot simply issue warnings or minor punishments. They must neutralize the threat at its source through decisive actions. Pete described the professionalism of military and intelligence teams evaluating these threats. He praised leaders such as Admiral Mitch Bradley and teams across specialized commands for their detailed intelligence gathering and evidence-based decisions. He explained that many aspects of these operations involved confidential methods, ensuring that every targeted vessel was positively linked to a designated terrorist network before any strike was authorized. He emphasized that the cargo found aboard these vessels, white bales and tightly packed containers, were not harmless items. Some boats used powerful motors or even submarine-like structures to avoid detection. Pete noted that no legitimate fishing vessel would operate in such a manner. He stated that commanders were fully empowered to make strike decisions without waiting for prior approval after the initial operation set the standard. Pete explained that he personally oversaw the first strike, gathering all intelligence before approving action. He witnessed the operation live, though he did not remain for all follow-up analysis due to other responsibilities. Later, he learned that the commanding officer had authorized an additional action within his authority to eliminate the remaining threat by sinking the vessel completely. He defended the commander's decision, stating that it was a correct call and that the American people were safer because of it. According to him, these actions sent a clear message to narco-terrorist groups. Attempts to transport dangerous substances by sea or land will be confronted forcefully. He reiterated that national security requires strong, immediate responses to protect American families. When asked about survivors, Pete clarified that he did not personally see any because the vessel had already been engulfed in flames and smoke. He described this uncertainty as a fog of war, something often misunderstood by observers who critique operations from distant offices. Pete criticized media outlets and anonymous sources that publish misleading claims, saying such narratives undermine the efforts of military personnel risking their lives. Pete argued that the president has empowered military leaders to carry out necessary but difficult missions during nighttime operations. He stressed that these actions, though harsh, save American lives by preventing dangerous substances from reaching communities. He said the administration is committed to stopping the ongoing poisoning of the nation through relentless action. The president then returned to the podium, referencing the large number of overdose-related deaths reported last year. He stated that many officials underreported the numbers for years, but real losses exceeded 200,000 lives annually. He described these deaths as devastating to families nationwide and insisted that operations have already reduced such casualties significantly. He credited the improvement to ongoing maritime strikes and reiterated plans to extend operations to land routes as well. According to the president, Land-based actions would actually be easier to conduct, as authorities have detailed knowledge of cartel movement patterns, hideouts, and trafficking routes. He said preparations were underway to begin these actions soon. The president expressed determination to lower the fatality rate dramatically. He said American families deserve to live without fear that their loved ones could unknowingly ingest a lethal substance. He portrayed the crisis as urgent, arguing that even a single pill taken casually could lead to death in less than a minute. He then criticized the previous administration, claiming that border policies allowed dangerous individuals and large quantities of harmful substances to enter the country unchecked. The president insisted that many who crossed the border were violent criminals, including individuals involved in murders and other serious offenses. He argued that the country suffered because proper vetting and security measures were ignored. He stated that while discussions often focus on avoiding discrimination, the issue at hand was criminal intent, not physical appearance or background. He argued that experienced officials can identify dangerous individuals by behavior and demeanor. The president said that thousands of known murders entered the country during previous years without proper screening. He emphasized that the administration's actions were aimed at stopping both criminal infiltration and drug trafficking. The president reiterated that current operations target violent cartel groups that have caused widespread harm through trafficking networks. He insisted that the government would continue to dismantle these networks aggressively. He concluded by stating that the ongoing strikes, both current maritime operations and future land-based missions, would continue eliminating threats to national safety. He maintained that protecting American citizens from dangerous substances and violent criminal networks is the administration's highest priority, emphasizing the need for continued decisive action. The president pledged to prevent further tragedies caused by illegal drugs, declaring that the government will remove those responsible for distributing them. He ended with a firm commitment to fight criminal organizations and ensure that communities across the country are safer, stronger, and better protected.